right. So,
And now, folks, the moment of truth. Moment you all been waiting for, hopefully. We are going to talk about Death Note,
yeah, boy.
the Netflix version, the
Yeah.
Netflix edition, if you will. Alright, so before we begin, just a little backstory about Death Note, right? So, back in the 2000s, when I was very, very heavily into anime, I think I can't remember who it is, but somebody recommended that I check out the anime for Death Note, right?
Yeah.
And this was around the time when I had to read subs and all that kind of stuff. So enjoyed it. I saw it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It blew me actually. This was something that, you know, the premise sounds so incredibly dark and so twisted and demented, but the way how it kept me on edge and it kept me engaged throughout the entirety of its of the 2 seasons that it ran for, you know, was just amazing. This was, to me, it's still, in my opinion, one of the best anime I've seen in a long while, actually. Well, sorry, probably arguably one of the best anime of the past decade here. It was so good that I actually watched it over with the English dub, and I thought the English dub was fantastic. I didn't get around to watching the majority of the live action films that they made
In Japan, yeah.
in Japan. I started watching like the first half hour of one, and then I just got bored because I find that the story just ran really slow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was one of them.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this before we jump into your history of the film. I know there's some I know in general people weren't really wowed by the end of the series itself, especially what they do with a certain character. Well, L. But I still enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't like the best end there, but still overall, yeah, I really enjoy Death Note. So what's your history on Death Note? The anime?
I got into it at roughly the same time I assume as you, which is roughly about 10 years ago or so.
Around time when it started to pick up and get
Death Note just is one of those shows that totally work in terms of like pacing, structure, and just the world, and then just the characterization. And again, for me, it kind of started to fall flat around the halfway mark when something big happens to a certain character. But it's still a solid series and a true classic. And what's truly notable about that series as well is probably one of the most memorable OPs ever. The second OP to Death Note.
Oh boy.
Yeah, just over the top black metal kind of vibes that they decide to go for.
Yeah,
And
like
it
this,
totally
like
work.
this bash. Just imagine bashing your head on a wall until it bleeds.
Yeah.
That's that type of music.
Yeah, just wildness. So
Yeah.
it just,
I
really
actually
cool.
love the end music that they use for that second season though. I thought that was so dark and dreary.
And it is most notable for just being really, really smart, conscientious writing.
Exactly, and not just dark and visceral for the sake
That's
of
it. That's well, we will
so-
get into that with this movie, and well, the live action movies as well. It didn't have these like classic moments like Death Note. There's this 2 moments in the original Death Note. Well, at least the anime. I can't say anything about the light novel or even the manga. Never read those. But it have 2 moments. The part with 2 cell phones, and there's a really clever part with involving a bag of potato chips. It's just the context of that just totally worked now in terms of like good writing and leading up and pacing. And yeah, let us get into the review itself
Yeah.
of this new Death Note. And well, we're just gonna straight up say it. Why didn't work? You know,
You just jump in there fast, but
just jump straight in. Yeah.
Let me talk about before we do that. We have to at least say what it's about. What is this American Death Note about? You wanna? fill us in?
It's the same story as the original Death Note, more or less, except it's in Seattle instead of Japan.
Yes.
That's it. It doesn't change, and well,
it's
certain
not
characters'
Light
races
Yagami
change.
anymore.
and-
It's Light Turner. Light.
Yeah, whatever.
Tuna.
Just everything Americanized. So it's the Americanized version of it. They changed the character of L is played by a black guy, played by Lakeith Stanfield. Ryuk is the same character, roughly, from the anime. It's played by, which I thought was quite
voiced by Willem Dafoe, quite
Willem
excellently.
Dafoe, yeah, it's pretty good actually. And this didn't. Now here's the thing. I'm just gonna just straight up say it. I didn't hate this as much as I expected to. But it's a classic case of what we call 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
That's
what it is. That's what it is. It's so basically the main problems with this is that way too much content and narrative to fit properly in 90 minutes. right? This was about 90 minutes long.
Well, 95 minutes, roughly. Yeah.
95 minutes. Well, I don't know.
Yes,
I just
it's
stopped
about
counting
that
at
long.
the
Well,
credits. Once it
yeah.
ended and the credits started, done. It didn't have a post credit scene, so I had
No.
it around 90 minutes or so. If anything, 92 minutes. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, well, yeah. 90 and change, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. Point is, it's it could have fit the story in that time period anyway. So pacing, characterization, world building, structure just generally suffered. And it is the unfortunate part because here's the thing: the one thing that you're supposed to utilize when the one thing you're supposed to utilize, and that's the one thing that was the strength of Netflix, is a miniseries format.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Totally agree.
What the fuck? Like, yeah, exactly. Why does it didn't do that? Because this could have easily. Now I don't know how long it could have been, but it could have easily been like a 6 to 8 hour long episodes or so, right?
Yeah.
6 episodes, hour long, and you flesh out the story better. Because here's the thing: I didn't completely hate this. It got a couple things right. I thought it got the one thing it got right that I thought a lot of live action anime stuff get wrong, including the Japanese Death Note, in my opinion, and most other live action Japanese stuff like Gantz or Rurouni Kenshin. One thing they almost always get wrong is visual language, right? Where's the camera? Where are you seeing it from? Where's the point of view? Stuff like that. This actually got a lot of that right, surprisingly, in my opinion.
You mean like what, camera movement or?
Wait, no, yeah, just where the camera is. Sorry?
You mean where the camera is set up, or?
Yeah, where the camera is, where the shot is, from whose angle, where it from. Yeah, it got a lot of that right, surprisingly. In my opinion, like especially some of that opening sequences, and when it's time for Light to kill off people, when he was doing this thing to kill off people,
right?
And then they changed some of the main narrative from the original Death Note, which I don't mind either. You're doing your own thing, fine, but you need to pace that out better. They could have started this in a better place with Light, have it be darker. Like they could have opened it instead of just him opening in a school, right? They could have him where he in the trial with the mother being bounced and the guy getting off.
Right.
So you set that up immediately in your first 5 minutes. Then you pace that out. So you have a whole first episode of him dedicated just to kill this dude, right? And him learning about the Death Note. So and then that was the problem, is that everything just jumped from point to point to point to point to point to point, and it just rush, like a total rush job, right? 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. No way could fit all of this in that short period of time. Pacing, play it out, and it could have worked. Now, I'm not saying that if they did it this way, it's a guarantee it would have worked, right? But that would have more than likely helped, though, right? I don't know. I keep thinking, like, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours would have probably do this justice. But as it is, total mess. Total mess. Didn't work at all. And it's a shame that I would have liked to see them at least think that out now instead of deciding to do one movie. You have Netflix as a platform. You're not in a theater, right? You don't have to put it straight to DVD. You have Netflix as a platform. Do that. Sit down and give us a format instead of doing this mess now. And that's why it didn't work. It's unfortunate that they did it like this. And I think it was the worst filmmaking either, even though it was amateurish at parts. Characterization was fine. They changed up a lot of things. So the Mia character's Misa, but she was different in the school this time instead of being a celebrity. It's kind of weird. Lakeith Stanfield as L wasn't that bad. I thought he was okay. He kind of worked in his own way. Even though he can't compare to the original L, but I like what they did with it now. He was decent. And he carried his same kind of weird energy from Atlanta anyway now. So that worked for me. And that's it. They just pace out, just badly paced story with just a bunch of characterization, just jump. And then you reach the end all of a sudden with an arc that don't make any goddamn sense because no way you could fit this story in 95 minutes or so, or however long it is, right? No way you could fit this in less than 100 minutes. And that's just the unfortunate part. So they fuck it up. You have anything to say? That's just my intro. Yeah.
Get some water, relax, kick back, and just hear him out for a while, right?
Yeah.
All right, Death Note. My thoughts on Death Note. So here's the thing, right? Now I know that this film has a lot of was going to have a lot of hurdles, right? For one thing, you're gonna adapt this much beloved anime, but that's in terms of like much beloved within the anime community. So not everybody is familiar with Death Note. That's fine. Okay. So you have liberties to change stuff up, and I have no problem with that. Okay. Changing location from wherever in Japan to Seattle, fine.
Right.
You know,
That's fine.
That's cool. All that's nice, right? Of course, you can't follow everything, you know, word for word, panel for panel, drawing for drawing from the manga or the anime to begin with.
Yeah,
anyway,
all that's fine.
so cool. But then on the other hand, you have the diehard fans, right? You have the ones that were venomous when they heard that Netflix was making this thing and it's going to be, they went up and wrote petitions, online petitions about this whitewashing thing and all that stuff.
Right.
I am going to look at this film from the middle of it. More on the side of it being a film and not so much as I'm gonna approach it, more of from a film critic perspective, not so much as a diehard fan of this thing. Because yes, I watched Death Note twice, but that was years ago. So I can't sit back and be like, well, that wasn't in the anime, that wasn't in the anime, that wasn't in the anime. I don't have time for that. Come on, I don't.
No, yeah.
So I have to talk about this thing as a movie. And as a movie, this is a failure. An epic failure.
Yeah, total failure. It didn't work.
And here's the thing. It didn't have to be a failure. It could have been something better. Something way better. I'll tell you what could have made this thing better to begin with. First of all, your protagonist, Light Turner, played so goddamn awful by Nat Wolff.
Yeah, he was pretty bad, yeah.
I hate this guy. Well, sorry, I don't have any beef with this guy. Well, the actor, but I hate.
Here's the problem. Again, you know, I kind of you kind of see me coming on the side of this film. Again, I would have loved to see. Again, I talking counterfactual, so it's kind of a bullshit argument in that sense. But again, it would have been good to see what a 6-hour run of this would have been like, so you get to see his character change over time.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, him at the start screaming like a bitch make perfect sense to me, right?
Oh yeah, that scream though when he sees you
it was funny and silly, but it makes perfect sense to me. Like, I like that. I thought that a lot of that works in terms of like, this him just screaming and melting down, and then because he hate the guy and he's a little bit of a psycho himself, when he see the guy head get blown over and they do the what's the name of those movies, Jared?
The Final Destination thing.
Final Destination, right? That kind of
I'll talk about Final Destination.
They had that kind of the Final Destination style of I forget what it's called, but the Rube Goldberg machine kind of approach to things now. This happened. And then somebody get a head blow off.
Or suddenly you lost head, that kind of thing, right?
Right. And
well, it looks like an accident, but it's kind of not. You know.
Right, exactly. The thing with it is that they cannot make it work, but because again it's only 90 minutes, it just no way to tell the story in time, because it's just all right, you had to do this, they didn't establish him properly, then all of a sudden you just get a Death Note, and then all of a sudden, and this is what 15 minutes or so. That's supposed to happen in 40 minutes, like the first big Death Note of the Death Note working, so you really get a sense of
half hour at least, or at least the end of the first act. At
least, exactly.
Not 10,
and everything just jump. No.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll talk about pacing in a bit too. Yeah.
Yeah. The main thing is it's just a rush job. I mean, I couldn't get myself to hate somebody's visual language and what he was going for now. In terms of the shot and angle, I was like, this isn't so bad in that sense. But it's just you just jump to the next point, and then they jump to L, and then L do this all of a sudden, and then you learn all of this about L all of a sudden. It's like, nah, dog, all of this shit's about to happen over hours now. So you binge watch this like a Defenders season now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It just they messed it up in that way.
It might have actually gone over a little bit better than Defenders did, to be honest. To be fair.
Exactly. And that's the problem. It's just that's the thing. Anyway, go ahead.
Right.
Continue.
Right. So back to our scene, right? So Nat Wolff as Light Turner. That guy was just so goddamn annoying, boy. He was just so unlikable. And that's the thing. Like, you're right to do. If they gave this thing more breathing space, if you will, breathing room, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have developed that character way better. But throughout the course of 95 minutes, I saw little to no character development from this guy.
Yeah,
he was still the same whiny bitch at the beginning, and he was a whiny bitch at the very end. I hated this guy. And now to compare to the anime now with Light Yagami. in that anime and manga, I should say, you saw how his character was from the beginning, right? He was
Yeah,
smart, he was getting A's or whatever. But as he got this death note and he understood the power of it and what he could do in terms of, changing the world and stuff, you saw his character break down. And, it's just, and that's the whole message of the film now, is like, what would happen if you were given this opportunity
yeah, the power,
the
right?
power now, and how that
Yeah,
power could corrupt you? That was the message of Death Note. Here is just
yeah,
he learned the rules briefly, and this is the first red flag for me. Well, one of many red flags, right? Okay, so Ryuk shows up and tells him all this stuff. I'll talk about Ryuk in a bit, right? It tells him about all this stuff about what the Death Note could do, and all you have to do is just write the name and how this person gonna die. You have this bully, right?
right.
That and in this real cliche 90s style bullying, from TV, pushing them around, it's like, oh, here's your books, man, all that kind of stuff. Like,
Right.
stuff that I have seen in, like, sitcoms, right, This is why I seen here. You're looking at this guy, and you tell yourself, you know what? Let me start off big now. Let me start off with decapitation, Dread. And then, in this real cliche, no illogical Final Destination ripoff, this guy gets decapitated. I was just
Right.
watching this scene. I was like, "What's this? This is a parody or something. This is a spoof of Final Destination. We didn't end this style of horror years ago. We've gone back
Yeah.
to this. What's this?" And then it gets even worse when the character of Mia shows up, played by Margaret Qualley.
Yeah. Well, she was
What I thought was just what I thought that Light Turner was going to be the only unlikable character in this show. Mia came into the scene.
right, and
My
she
God,
was
I hated her in
I
this.
forget she was in that show. She was in Leftovers as the daughter too.
Okay.
So I like the actress. She's solid
Yeah.
in that show, but yeah, she was a mess in this.
Yeah,
Show.
no,
Character
no,
didn't
no,
make
no
sense.
beef with her. No beef with her at all.
Yeah,
But still, I just hated
yeah.
her character. I hated
She didn't work out. She didn't work at all either.
how she kind of gravitated to this man so quickly.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
How she was trying to be all oblivious. Like, this is one scene, I don't know, at this when they during basketball practice, he has the book out and talking to her about the book, right? And
Yeah,
Ryuk is behind him. Sorry, Ryuk is behind her. And then is like, who you talking to? Oh, I'm just talking to this dead god. Sorry, I'm talking to Ryuk. He's a dead god. And she's like,
right.
oh, okay. What? Why?
Yeah, it didn't work.
Okay, so
PSN.
yes, right. So yes. Logically, I'm gonna add a little bit of, like, what you say, Captain Hindsight to it. So yes, maybe you assume that Light is a little crazy. He's a little off the rockers, right? So he's seeing things and stuff like that. But you're not just gonna brush off like, oh, okay, come on. The
Yeah.
man could be a psycho, and you just all like, well, I want to know more because you have this book that you keep telling him I could kill people. Ooh. But she does bring in a little bit of logic here, where they have the scene when they go into these net forums and they talk about, oh, well, we can't really kill this guy because you don't really know if he killed this thing, if he really did this crime or whatever like that. Okay, you haven't seen this guy's face, you don't know, you can't really validate, fully if he did the crime or not or whatever like that. That was cool, but still, her being in this film was just a waste to me. Their relationship was so forced. Like this scene where they went inside, rushed as well too, where it's either in Light's house or Mia's house. I don't know. I can't remember. Where and it's all dark and stuff. It's like, are you gonna kiss me? And like they hesitate a little bit, and then they finally do it as soon as the music pops up. I'll talk about music as well. And then we get to this whole montage thing where it's like Bonnie and Clyde basically.
Right.
Oh, well, now we are this group called, well, technically, Light is Kira, right? I like the fact that
they explain. Here's the thing, they surprisingly explain the things that I noticed in the trailer. I was like, oh, it doesn't make any sense, or that didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, they explain a lot of that. Like, they explain Ellen this kind of, but again, rush job, so it didn't matter.
I'll talk about L. I'll talk about L too, don't worry. But, yeah, right, so I guess getting back to those two, right? And then you have this montage, right, where, oh, now we're seeing Kira's influence over the world and people dying and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a bunch of, like, generic Hollywood-looking Final Destination-esque kind of deaths. And it's like all these different people, some Spanish dictator, some guy here, some guy over there. And like to the untrained eye, like if you knew nothing about the anime or the manga, right? You're watching this thing. You gotta ask yourself, okay. So suddenly you just wake up in the morning and you just realize, you know what? We should just kind of wipe out each and every bad guy that on the news read because we
Right.
have this power.
Well, again,
Sounds smart, right? Sounds smart on
yeah,
paper, but because they don't really develop this, they don't develop
right.
the motivations as to why they will do what they do. You give
Yeah,
us this rush montage. We're supposed to be like,
yeah,
wow,
and
yes, we
because
buy
they
into
just
this. No.
in what in it was in like what a minute of dialogue they set up the whole the father couldn't do anything about the mobster because he get away from killing the mother.
Yeah. This thing with his dad, who's played by Shea Wingham. Last time I
Right,
saw him was in what was the show? Agent Carter. He was in it.
right. No, but
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is that they set up why like they didn't set up enough or establish light of why Light will be angry at the world.
exactly. Yeah. So he
And
just came off
again,
like this real emo kid who just want to
exactly
have a
because
purpose.
we know
So
why.
here we go.
We know why, and they put it in again in like less than a minute of dialogue. They arguing over dinner,
Yeah.
right? You did because your father didn't do anything. You didn't do anything to save or at least to avenge your mother, and this guy got away,
Yeah.
right? And he gave vexed with him, and the father was like, "Well, I'm gonna pretend you didn't say this because you see your friend dead in school, right?"
Right.
And I was like, okay, you have stuff there, you know. But again, all you could have do with that is like you could have again the opening shot to this should have been the guy getting away on the trial
I agree.
or something like that.
Establishing
Establish the
motivation
character, no establishment.
early on. Don't just hint it
Yeah.
up. Oh, in this conversation scene at dinner. Oh yeah. By the way, we never
Yeah.
caught that guy who killed mom. Did you?
Right,
Because he didn't
right.
do anything. Well, and by the way, I hated the interactions between Light and his dad. I hated
Yeah, it
that
didn't work.
shit.
Yeah, that was
Man
dumb too.
just came off whiny. He just came off like, well, I just talking to you because, this real edgelord kind of vibe. Like, I just talking
Right.
to you because you don't see me on a daily because I'd be in school. So, but I don't really need to talk to you now. I could just leave this dinner table and go up to my room, screw you ever. I just hated those moments. And it's a shame because she is a great actor. But you give him, you let him be all like, trying to interact with this douchebag, Dread. It don't work. There's one
Yeah.
scene, Dread, where is right wrong with the whole investigation thing really starts off, and this is right after L, who's played by Lakeith Stanfield, as you said, goes up and has his press conference out of the blue, revealing himself physically, not so much his face, and telling them, well, I know who you are, L, I know who you are, Kira, blah 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 blah, which by the way is not how the L in the anime would do things, but I'll talk about that
Right.
later on. And then like everybody fearing that the father gonna be in danger now. So by the time the father comes home, I just seeing Light stand up there and then suddenly he just come and hug the man, just so.
Right.
Nothing earned about it, it just happens. Like, oh, okay, the director told me to hug him, okay, I'm gonna hug him. I'm gonna try to look sad and I'm trying to look like I care about him. But then later on, Mia trying to kill him, and I wouldn't spoil anything beyond that point. But yeah. But yeah, you have this unlikable character, this main character here. And you could have done something like, say, Walter White in Breaking Bad here, where you have this character that you kind of sympathize with because everybody mistreats him, but then you see his motivation, and then he becomes
Yeah, exactly.
this villainous character that
Yeah,
you
over
become
time.
not so much loaded, you fear this guy,
Yeah.
and that's what they could have done here. But you're
Yeah.
right though, because of the limited time that they had,
Yeah,
they
no way
couldn't
could have
really
tell
do
the
much.
story.
But
Still shit.
simple storytelling, they could have
Yeah.
still tried though. But
Yeah,
it
but I
didn't
think
feel like
I don't
they
put
did.
this. But I as I say, I think all of these like live action movies, one of the big problems with why they fail is because of the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with to me. I always hated the live action Death Note movies anyway in Japan. Those suck too.
Yeah, I
right?
just find it was just so slow and sluggish
Yeah,
and boring.
those suck too, and they don't work either. So that's why I'm not really like defending, like I'm not knocking this any more than those.
Right.
Right?
Understand.
They're not particularly worse just because they're quote unquote American or any of that bullshit. And the whitewashing argument is a non-argument in my opinion, so I don't really care about that either. It's like it's just the story happening in a different space. Is a alt reality Death Note. Treat it like that.
Right.
That's what it is.
There's a few more things I want to mention before I jump into my rating, right? Another thing that really turned me off, that really pissed me off actually, were the death scenes. Like
Right.
the first couple of them were like these like final destination moments, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the whole gimmick is so at the very end is supposed to be bloody and gory, and the audience was like, oh, like that. But I just watched it like, wait, really?
Yeah.
There's one death scene that had potential, that was setting up potential, and it just fall flat because of the same thing I just mentioned here. It's where these undercover cops, after, L contacts them and tell them, okay, get to the nearest hospital. Like knows who you are, get to the hospital now.
Yeah, and
you have this nice scene. It starts off really nice, right? Where all these cops going up these steps, onto the top of a building.
Right.
All of them stand up on the ledge, on the edge of the roof.
Yeah.
And drop down. Now you could have had and they had this nice little slow-mo thing that they was doing here. They could have had this great moment, right? Really subversive, really dark, really twisted, where it's just these guys just falling in slow motion from this building. As soon as the first guy hit the ground and splat, it just cuts to black.
Yeah, dumb.
And that's the next thing. That's one thing that really
another problem. Another issue.
Just a fish. I'm sorry. Is that as much as you want to be all dark and R-rated and edgy and so graphic, it never goes beyond a certain limit. Like, here you have this thing about this guy who could pretty much kill you in the most violent way imaginable, and yet we'll just give you a little glimpse. Here's a little blood splatter. End. Yeah. But not too much though, because it's Netflix and we don't want to be accused of being controversial. I mean, whitewashing aside, we don't want to be all controversial, man. But let me just try to be. Let me just hint at it a little bit, but we never go too far. Why? I don't know. But even like the death scenes in the anime were much smarter than that. They didn't rely on blood. It was just like, oh, this could actually happen at a moment's notice, like the heart attack or this or that. They were more clever. There's something like
but
somebody
like
the Yagami would be smarter to say, oh, you think you have the upper hand? Boom, no, that's it. I just kill you like that. Snap.
Right.
Not.
And that's the thing too. Again, more time in with a help with that, because one of the big problems I had with it as well is that the rules of the Death Note was largely inconsistent.
You just kind of show 1 or 2, 3, and then it's like, well, Rule 64 says you could do that.
Yeah, and you could do this and do that, and then what about other people writing in it.
I don't know.
The girl could write in it, and it's like, wait, she don't own it, and it's like, wait, what? They didn't establish this earlier?
Yeah, one thing that kind of threw me off, where a page of it was ripped off now.
Right.
And one character has the option to write in it, but you don't know if
that is. Yeah, but that's the problem. See, again, now in the anime, they had a lot of loopholes to the rules, but they explained that. Exactly. Right? Because they had time to explain it. But this is like, oh well, all of a sudden I could do this, that, and the other, and it's this big convoluted plan. All of a sudden being set up for the last 15 minutes or so, involving both Light and her, as is trying to outsmart each other apparently, because she kind of bad but not really, and she still love her. Again, inconsistent characterization, so it didn't work.
That whole sequence, by the way, I just have a few more things about it. That whole sequence there, I had to rewatch that whole last 15 minutes a few times, because not only was I falling asleep, because this shit was boring, but there were a few more, there was so much inconsistency here. I was trying to figure out, okay, it's trying to be smart here, but let me see if I could pick up on what's going on. And then when it ends, it's probably one of the most facepalm-worthy endings I've seen to anything this year, where you're trying to be so smart. It's like, oh, yes, guys, this is the big twist. Here you go. And it's like, wait. But somebody like you, because you didn't set up your character properly,
yeah, we don't know.
I cannot buy into the fact that a guy like Light Turner could be that smart to figure it out. But like Yagami, on the other hand, you see how smart this guy is.
Here's the problem is that he all of a sudden, is a big character motivation, so he now have this wherewithal to do this thing with her.
All of a sudden you thinking 10 steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, wait, what? Guys, why would you do that thing? And then on top of that, he was regretting it at the end. Yeah. But you're still thinking to have her do this thing anyways. Like, wait, what? Because she had to fall, and she's going to fall and rip the page out to save his life. So
this like both characters fall, right? So if they fell someplace else instead of
but that's the whole point is that the Death Note's supposed to control that. He put that into it. I get that part. But the problem is that
the plausibility of it, dude. This
but that's the whole point. It's the Death Note. The Death Note has that power. I accept that.
Okay.
The Death Note has that power. I accept that.
All right.
But
okay.
That is now what I'm saying. The problem is that him as a person now, again, because he liked this girl and he apparently loved the girl. So he will have the wherewithal to have it play out where she will die, and instead of having him survive alone, it's like, wait, what? That so he didn't trust her enough, but I thought he loved her from before.
Yeah,
so this big weird character switch again.
And then once again, because the relationship was so forced, you just don't buy into it.
Yeah, so it just didn't work anyway. Give it a rating, and then let me give it a rating.
Right, just a few more things. I'm gonna round things up. Don't worry. Right, the character of L. I mean, yes, Lakeith Stanfield slowly becoming one of my favorite African American actors. And when he's introduced into the film, I thought it was pretty cool. But then there's moments where this guy just like loses his shit, and you're wondering, but no, this is not. This is just me comparing it to the anime now. This is not how L the character would be. Yeah, there's just things that the character of L does here in this movie that just makes no sense. Like, even if you know nothing about the original L from the anime, this man is like one of the probably the greatest detective the world has ever known thus far, and yet somehow magically he knows that light is in Seattle.
No,
it just happens like snap. Like
the movie explained that, you know.
No, I get the explanation.
The movie explained that. So I don't have a problem with that.
How fast it took for him to
pacing,
sort that out.
Again.
Right, the pacing.
No, because I don't really have a problem with all of that. They explain all of that shit, you know, like him working out that is his son, and because he's pieced together. They explain all of that shit, you know. They explain it.
Yeah,
it's just bad pacing. You didn't from a thematic standpoint, it wasn't earned. So
yeah, totally agree. And then
him figuring that out wasn't like, again, logically it made some sense, but like you don't care. Like, okay, you figure out light is Kira is light. All right, cool. Moving on. Next.
And then his relationship with Watari, right? His father figure. They didn't do anything with that. I didn't get the sense of this guy being this father figure. So when something bad happens to him, it's like, and then L just spazzes out now. It's like,
right, that was dumb.
Yeah, that was dumb, right?
That was dumb.
What else?
Because I didn't mind. Okay, so what they could have done with it is that they could have made. Okay, so you're doing the grounded thing. Like in the anime, the original L was a kind of weird, off the cuff dude.
Yeah, he was an introvert
right.
character. I actually love that character.
What they could have done is have L be Asperger's. Like, have it explicitly be that he's Asperger's. So he can't handle life without Watari now. Watari had to cater to him better now, and they're kind of setting that up. So they keep saying,
the whole thing with Watari singing that song and telling him about
right. All of that I liked.
I didn't understand it, but that's just
that's the problem. They didn't set that up at all, because it's like, wait, why you didn't get, like, you could have inferred their relationship that, look, he had to take care of L because L is a genius and solve crimes, but L is a spaz at the same time, Asperger's, and if things go wrong in her life, things will break apart for him. But he's a genius, He's a savant, right? That's what he is. And they could have done it, and they keep mentioning the hotels, something with sleep. I forget the line, but they keep saying sleep is...
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Sleep is important to the mind or something like that.
Something like that, for the mind to function or something like that.
Again, this should have been 6 hours to explain that shit. You can have a whole episode showing L origin story, and you do a different origin.
Yes, and they have the right platform, as you say. So, right, so there's a couple of things before I wind on, right? Willem Dafoe. Right. Great voice actor. Great. Yeah. You could see his face and his facial presence, even as Ryuk. But I was let down, man, because for one thing, you don't see enough of him. Right. Let me admit that. Secondly, there's more to him than just, I'm just gonna tell you the rules. I'm just gonna sit here and watch you figure it out and go. No, like in the original anime, for example, you saw the dimension where he was from and why, that I was asking, why are you doing this stuff now? I wish I could have seen some more of that. For him to be in this film, not just that. I didn't have a big issue with, because in the original anime, I always hated Ryuk's motivations. I hated those motivations. He was basically just doing it for the lulz. That's it. Yeah, he was bored. That was the thing. He was bored. He was bored. He liked looking at humans. So like, all right, let's see what happens. I hated that as a motivation for a character. I thought they should have done something more clever with it, like him having a human use the Death Note to fuck around with things, would have like give him more power, mess around with the system to gain some advantage in some way. Like they could have done something like that. I would have preferred that. Like giving Ryuk more than just, I'm bored and I'm doing it for the lulz. I hated that. Right. Original anime. And they kind of roughly did the same thing in this. He just show up, you want to cause chaos, you humans are interested, and then they move on.
So
Yeah.
you kind of have to imply, or they just kind of assume that the fans know what Ryuko about anyway. Moving on.
But
They never explain who write in the book to not trust Ryuk.
right.
Never explain
Never
that.
explain that. That's true. That's true.
So that could be a whole plot. You see why this one is like, oh shit, the original owner, earlier owner did Death Note come to help out Light against Ryuka, and they can make it more clever and have Ryuka and Light versus each other in a smarter way. Nope.
Yeah, but here's my issue with him though, is that if you are not a fan of Death Note, if it's the first time you see Death Note, right?
Yeah.
You see this god and this Death God and this book and all that kind of stuff, but you barely see with the film. But you at the back of your mind you want to know, well,
what going on with him?
What going on with him though? Like,
yeah.
How do you exist? That's the question I should ask.
Yeah.
How do you exist? Why do you exist? Why are you doing what you are doing? I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't explain.
Because I know I have knowledge of the character from the anime, I could say, okay, I understand why he's doing what he's doing. But
that's the thing, I hate it. I still hate it.
The film, they will just be like, oh well, he's just this demonic force that's just there to persuade Light to do the bad things that he doing. The end.
It was a mess.
Yeah, and finally, well, last but not least, the music choices in this.
Right, I didn't
spotty, awkward, weird. They set up this whole romantic vibe, which is totally against what the anime was to begin with. Now, okay, yes, I see you want to be all Americanized. They could argue and go in depth and say, "Oh, it's a Bonnie and Clyde for this generation here, whatever it is." But still, when you have your big reveal at the very end of the film, and you have Air Supply's "The Power of Love" playing in the background, why? I was watching what was going on, trying to keep my eyes open because I was bored. I was hearing the song in the background. I was asking myself, but this don't work. Tonally, these two things don't mesh at all. You're setting up this thing like, oh well, it's about the couple getting away at the end, fleeing the law and all that kind of stuff. That's not what Death Note is about. That's not what that whole sequence was about. So why is the song there? What, to give some kind of 80s aesthetic because it's about it's about teen angst and things. So because it's an American show about teen angst, we must have 80s love ballads. So why that particular one? I don't know. It just didn't work for me. But I didn't pay attention to that. Yeah, but I couldn't help but take note of the music though, because it just stood out. It just stuck out like a sore thumb to me. But if I could just give like one or couple posters, it would be Willem Dafoe, who I thought was great. Just the thought of him being Ryuk is just excellent on paper. And the direction, I thought the direction was great. The way how it's shot, it's directed by Adam Wingard. I haven't seen his other stuff like VHS or
what did he do before?
and those kind of things.
What did he do before?
He did a movie called Your Next. He did Blair Witch, which I haven't seen.
Right, Blair Witch I hated. The new one, right?
Yeah. Oh wait, I did see The Guest. I saw The Guest.
The Guest was okay.
Same kind of 80s aesthetic. It was okay.
Yeah.
The cinematography was great as well. This is a really I don't want to say gorgeous, but this movie looks really, really good. Yeah. But still, boy, that story and the characters and lack of motivation. And how could I forget the pacing? Yes, you are right. The pacing is just so fast. Like,
yeah.
Like,
there's jump.
There's so much you could tell here. Yeah. And, this whole 95 or 100-minute runtime is just doesn't do it any justice. It needs to be longer than this. Why is it so short?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, as much as I would love to defend this show because it's an attempt at, American or telling the story through American eyes, yeah, I cannot defend this film at all I cannot forgive it, for the flaws in terms of just the characters and the motivations and just the storytelling elements of it. I can't forgive that. I just really can't.
Yeah, it's a mess. It doesn't work at all. We'll give it a rating quickly.
I will give this a light 2 out of 5. I want my money back.
Right. Yeah.
I know I didn't spend any money in it, but I still want my money back.
Yeah, as I say, 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
This could have been
they really should have.
so
they should have really attempt. They should have really again. I know Captain Hindsight stuff, but should have really attempt to do this in 6 episodes or so, 6-hour-long episodes, and make this work, and he had to flesh it out a little better, tell backstories, have characters work, and do all of that instead of just stuffing everything into this tiny sardine can. I give it roughly the same score, so it's like a 3 out of 10 for me. It just didn't work. Sadly, it is something that had potential and then utterly squandered. So, moving on.
Yeah.
Next.